Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This Christmas, we're inviting you to join the GB News family for an occasion filled with joy. A chance to come together and lift our voices and celebrate what truly brings us closer at this time of year. So whether you're with friends or family or simply in the spirits of the season, we would love to share this special night of carols with you. Carols by candlelight, Christmas Eve at 8 o'clock only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome along to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition, breaking right now.
We've had free speech for a very, very long time in the United Kingdom, and it will last for a very, very long time.
Well, the big breaking news is on the front of the Daily Telegraph. Non-crime hate incidents are apparently going to be scrapped under plans that police chiefs will present to the Home Secretary next month. So maybe it's an end to the arrests for hurty words. Also,
who actually needs an ambulance to get to hospital there tonight. People have died in this prison. People have died in this prison.
the MP for Gaza, Zara Sultana, has made sure that the Palestine Action hunger strikers have got plenty of attention. And now on the front of The Guardian, the lawyers, or their lawyers, are claiming that David Lammy has failed to comply with his own policy by refusing to meet with their families. Also, there's a big front-page exclusive on The Sun. Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor has had his gun licence revoked after specialist police visited his home in Royal Lodge in Windsor. Concerns, one would imagine, for his mental health. Also, Rachel Reeves is running out of options if she wants to go to the pub for a Christmas Day drink, which, of course, she doesn't because she hates fun. More pubs in Leeds have banned the Chancellor of the Exchequer following her hated budget. And finally,
driving home for Christmas. Oh, I can't wait to see those faces.
the singer behind the festive classic Driving Home for Christmas, Chris Rea, has sadly died at the age of 74. So we're going to be talking about that. That's made the front of at least 2 newspaper front pages. Well, there's even more to go. There's a plethora of news on the front pages because there's councils going down to a 4-day working week and shoppers have been misled into buying EU turkey. So we can't have that, can we? But here to pick through this news is broadcasters in royalty Christophe Foufas, Benjamin Butterworth, the journalist extraordinaire, and GB News contributor and comedian Leo Kearse. But first, let's get those headlines with Sam Francis.
Patrick, thank you. A very good evening to you. Just coming up to 3 minutes past 11. The top story tonight. A man has been charged with 56 sexual offences against his ex-wife, with 5 other men also charged as part of the same investigation. 49-year-old Philip Young is accused of drugging and raping Joanne Young over a 13-year period, alongside charges including voyeurism and possession of indecent and extreme images. Wiltshire police say a total of 6 men face charges relating to alleged offences between 2010 and 2023, with those victims, with the victim rather, choosing to waive her legal right to anonymity. Young has been remanded in custody, while the other 5 men are on bail, all due to appear at Swindon Magistrates Court on Tuesday. Hunger-striking Palestine action activists are threatening legal action against the government, warning some prisoners could die without urgent intervention. Lawyers say they have been sent a pre-action letter to the Justice Secretary, David Lammy, after 7 detainees were taken to hospital since the strike began in early November. One prisoner has now refused food for more than 50 days, though a third hunger striker has ended her protest after 48 days, with 4 others still said to be refusing food. The Ministry of Justice says it strongly rejects the claims and insists that prison safety procedures are robust and being followed. The Health Secretary has said he doesn't want to see a resident doctor strike for a single day next year as they return to work today after a 5-day walkout. Wes Streeting says the combination of strike action and rising flu cases pose the biggest threat to the NHS since he took office. The British Medical Association, though, says it is keen to re-engage with ministers, but insists 2026 must, they say, bring less name-calling and more deal-making. Talks are expected to resume in the new year as the union ballots members again for another mandate on action. In Shropshire, a major incident's been declared today as parts of a canal collapsed, leaving boats there stranded, some sinking deep into a trench. The collapse, around 50 metres long, happened when a man-made embankment gave way, sending water flooding into nearby fields. Emergency services helped to rescue up to 15 people with no reports of injuries. Several narrow boats have still been left damaged and teetering on the edge. The Canal and River Trust says it's too early, though, to know what caused the collapse. And the singer behind the festive classic Driving Home for Christmas, Chris Rea, has died at the age of 74. The English singer-songwriter and guitarist passed away peacefully in hospital following a short illness, surrounded by his family. Rea enjoyed a major success from the late 70s onwards, with hits including On the Beach and 2 UK #1 albums. Those are the headlines. I'll hand you straight back now to Late Edition with Patrick.
Welcome along to Late Edition. Let's get you the first look at Tuesday's newspaper front pages, and there is a lot to go at today. The Eye lead with silicosis scandal. Save other men like me from killer kitchens, urges a worker, 29, who sadly has now been left with an incurable lung disease, as well as COPD and emphysema after cutting quartz kitchen worktops in a fog of dust. The Daily Mail go for ex-councillor quotes drugged and raped wife with other men. This is a businessman, former Tory councillor, apparently due in court tomorrow, which charged with drugging and raping his ex-wife for 13 years. I will just say, look, this is obviously a breaking story. It's an active case. We're going to have to leave that one there. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty, aren't they? But The Sun. Now, this is a sensational story. I think it's probably the most sensational story on all of the front pages, actually. Police seize Andy gun licence. This is Andrew Mountbatten. He's had his gun licence revoked. Apparently, specialist police officers turned up to Royal Lodge, which is where he's still living, and he agreed to hand over his gun licence. He's only going to be allowed to use weapons now, shotguns, under strict supervision. He's not going to be allowed to transport them anywhere. There's a lot going on with this story. Some of the reasons behind why you would revoke a gun licence is a change of address. Well, fine, we know he's moving out of Royal Lodge. But obviously another reason, of course, is if you are deemed to be a risk to yourself or others. And, you know, there are questions there after the kind of year that Andrew has had, whether or not that may indeed be the case. The Guardian, another one that I'm looking forward to getting stuck into here, tucking into, if you will. Families plead with Lammy over the Palestine Action hunger strike. So the families and supporters of Palestine Action-affiliated hunger strikers who are on remand in prison at the moment have now pleaded with David Lammy to meet them. They've given a list of demands, and it's how they want him to proceed. Look, again, you know, I'm sorry, but this is very much a self-inflicted problem, isn't it? Quite literally a self-inflicted problem on these people. And as we're going to talk about, some of their demands are pretty out there. The Express, let's all back Britain's vibrant high streets, on the front of the Daily Express there. Yeah, just pretty much a story that does what it says on the tin, really. Post offices will lead the comeback of vibrant high streets following a revamp next year. They're going to fill the void left by banks closing. Will offer services from advice to small businesses to prescription hubs. There you go. The Mirror King of industry. This is the fact that King Charles now, despite battling cancer, is apparently this year's hardest working royal. So have that, Princess Anne. The Telegraph. Non-crime hate incidents are going to be scrapped. This is a huge victory. We're going to talk about this, but the Daily Telegraph's front page as a whole is pretty strong, actually. Have you been misled into buying an EU turkey by mistake? Supermarkets have been accused of duping shoppers into buying European turkeys. There's a bird flu outbreak wreaked havoc on British farms. There you go. You've accidentally eating foreign muck this Christmas. That's what that tells you. Also, councils are going to go down to a 4-day working week. Magnificent. Great. I mean, they could do the opposite. Shouldn't they be going the other way? Shouldn't you be on a 7-day working week, fill in the blooming potholes, you know, make people's lives better? You know, instead, no, they're going the other way. Work shy civil servants. But let's get straight into my panel on this. Focus on the big one on the Telegraph. Non-crime hate incidents to be scrapped. So, Leo, as the kind of man that would have been fodder for the prosecution of a non-crime hate incident, in fact, I'm amazed that you aren't currently serving about 20 years behind bars. You must feel like this is pretty good news for you and your ex-account.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought they'd already been scrapped because Harry Miller took them to the Supreme Court, took the College of Policing to the Supreme Court, and they were ordered to stop using these ridiculous non-crime hate incidents. I mean, why would the police be dealing with non-crimes? Are the fire brigade dealing with houses that aren't on fire? It's a nonsense. And some of the non-crime hate incidents that have been recorded are absolutely nonsensical. Harry Miller was pulled up over saying he identified as a fish and was just assigned mammal at birth. And there's
because they would thought that was offensive to trans people.
They thought it was offensive to trans people who, you know, famously love to have a joke. And you know,
I find often take a joke well.
Yeah. And the other ones have been even more ridiculous. Somebody hung underwear in their washing line, and that was recorded as a non-crime hate incident because it offended a neighbour. A little girl at a school, at a primary school, said that another classmate smelt like fish, and that was apparently a scramble all units, you know, Blue Sirens non-crime hate incident as well. So this is nonsense, and they're going to replace it with common sense. So things are going to get even worse because good luck finding somebody in the public sector who's got common sense in 2025.
Well, it's not.
They are working for those 4 days that you could find that common sense.
Yeah, it's not an entire victory though, unfortunately, because under these new plans, non-crime hate incidents will be replaced with a new common sense approach. So beware of that, because they've traditionally not displayed much common sense when dealing with these, where only a fraction of such incidents will be recorded under the most serious category of antisocial behaviour. So there's another way of looking at this story, Christo, which is that actually, instead of someone being registered as a nasty man or for saying that someone smells like fish, right, it might actually now you get charged with the more serious offence of antisocial behaviour.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just wanting to take your analogy further, though, that hospitals will deal with now non-health incidents and we're going to have all sorts like that. You know, my mechanic will deal with my car when there's nothing wrong with it. But I think that we now will need to look at the statistics in a year's time or whenever this comes in of antisocial behaviour. Prosecutions, because if they start skyrocketing, well, then it's just going to have been replaced with that. And this is, you're quite right, common sense in this government or anyone in the public sector is quite thin on the ground, but it is about the line, isn't it? And I want comedy to offend. I want comedy to you know, the essence of comedy, which is, you know, laughing at someone who falls over and hurts themselves, you know, that is comedy, and that's cruel. Comedy is cruelty. I don't need to tell you that. You are cruel on a daily basis, every day, morning, noon and night.
I only punch down.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's hilarious.
It is hilarious. But, and I think that we've lost that because the line has become so blurred, and we have become a nation where we don't look at intent, we look at what people's feelings are. Yeah. Why are you laughing? Why are you giggling at that?
No, just because it's so true. But this is the risk, isn't it, now, Benjamin? Which is that, you know, OK, it's good that people are celebrating the non-crime hate. So, you know, where you send something in, like, a parent WhatsApp group about that you don't like one of the teachers at a school, and then before you know it, like 16 police officers stove your front door in, and they're in there telling you that you might be under... You're not charged with anything, but can you come down to the police station, and by the way, we've called social services.
And that actually happened.
Yeah, I know, yeah, it's mad. So that...
In Hertfordshire, where I grew up, in Hertfordshire, of all places, leafy Hertfordshire.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
I mean, but now it might be classed as antisocial behaviour.
I think when comedy and shocking comedy is criminalised as a problem, my favourite comedian is without doubt Joan Rivers, and I was the last person to interview her before she died, and she was fantastically offensive, but she did it in a good-natured way.
I think that's what killed her.
Yeah, exactly. I was cleared in court of that one, but so you know, things like that shouldn't be the problem. But there is also real abuse and prejudice and bigotry that some people, innocent people, going about their lives are subjected to.
But there are laws against that.
They're already covered by the law.
But as I've learned, it's really hard to get a conviction. Learned as a victim, not as a perpetrator, I might add. It's really hard to get a conviction for those hate crimes because actually, for most of the definitions of hate crime, they're not even standalone offences. You would have to, I don't know, punch someone and say something.
It's hard to get conviction with respect, and I'm not trying to diminish whatever genuine hate you suffer. But it's hard to get conviction for lots of. It's hard to get conviction for rape. It's hard to get conviction for like actual like the most serious offences. Yeah.
So were you trying to get conviction for someone who had said something hateful?
So someone threatened to stab me for being gay. It was a Christian evangelist, and he was preaching hate, homophobic hate, explicitly, and threatening to stab me. And actually, when I went through the process, I learned from that you can get a conviction for trying to stab me, but the threat level, even in that context, it was really hard to get.
Well, I'd go to church if it was
when
like
you have that problem, I think that's where you end up with sort of slightly silly things like non-hate crime incidents coming into existence.
Well, there we go. I mean, I don't know. I had an incident once.
And he was convicted, by the way, so I can say.
No, I had an incident once where a bloke messaged me and he said, like, he called me a white piece of ass and then said, basically made a veiled threat to my life, right? And
I'm sorry about that.
That's all right, mate. Don't worry. Well, I went to the police about it because I thought I just got the impression this guy was going to do something like quite serious. I found out where I lived, and you know, it's not just me I have to consider. Unfortunately, is it? Got a family as well. And the police said to me there was no chance that they could prosecute him under the threat to life, but he had been racist towards me. So if I wanted to, I could press ahead. And I was like, that's not why I'm here. That's not, you know, why. I don't want this guy. I don't want to turn up to court for a bloke that I'm then going like, oh, you're a bit racist.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But I think what you've both demonstrated is that actually the laws around when genuine violence is threatened and it's got that awful intent, there's no joke involved, maybe that needs tightening up a little bit rather than all of this nonsense. That's the issue.
All right, let's just reintroduce the Daily Telegraph's front page, because their story towards the bottom there is don't switch to a 4-day week, ministers order councils. Labour has ordered councils not to adopt a 4-day working week. This is Steve Reed, the Community Secretary, has warned all leaders of English local authorities that they may be considered to be failing if staff are paid full week's wages for just 4 days of work. Yeah.
And they run these tests to see if they can operate on a 4-day week, and of course the tests are successful. If somebody told me you can do like 4 days work for this month, and if it works, then you know you get 5 days money with 4 days work for the rest of your life, I'd be like, yeah, brilliant. You know what I mean? So I mean, obviously, anytime they run a test like that, it's gonna show that they can do it incredibly successfully. But what we should really do is, if they can show that they can get all the work done in 4 days, just trick them. Just be like, actually, we were testing to see. Now you've got to work those 4 days, but you're only getting paid for 4 days.
No. They
yes.
But they get
like Vicar of Dibley.
They get 20% more work. So you
Yeah.
make them work the 5 days. You go, right, you can get all of the work you did before in 4 days. Now we're going to give you 20% more work, and you're going to do the 5 days.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm going to read something out here that's in the... So Cambridgeshire Council, South Cambridgeshire is apparently, according to the Daily Telegraph, one of the councils already adopted a 4-day working week. Bridget Smith, the Liberal Democrat leader in South Cambridgeshire, has defended...
called Bridget.
Well, yeah, has defended the policy in the past, claiming the council is exceptionally high-performing and arguing that the 4-day week has helped generate around £400,000 in annual cost savings. I mean, 25 councils have discussed this 4-day week.
There's absolutely a case for a 4-day week, because we should judge workers on their productivity and their output, not simply on how many hours they're tied to the desk. And if people can be more productive when they have a better work-life balance, then that's in everyone's interest.
No.
Clearly,
Not if my council tax is paying them. If they can do the same amount of work that they're supposed to be doing now in 4 days, they should be doing more work. That means that there is more scope for them to be able to do more.
No.
So therefore be more productive, get through more emails, get through more complaints, do more parking permits, do more all of those sorts of things, fill in more potholes, make sure the street light bulbs are changed.
Do the road
bins.
Sorry, there's a strip of road near where I live that has been under construction now for over a year, right? You could have built the Golden Gate Bridge quicker than they've managed to do this little side road thing. It's ridiculous.
Look, it's like, I know it's the era of Muppet Christmas Carol, but we don't want people working 7 days a week and being in workhouses, right? We understand that.
I'm asking for 5. That's not unreasonable.
That wouldn't make us more productive. Actually, there are jobs where it wouldn't work. So, you know, if you're working in a call centre, then clearly 4 days rather than 5 is going to be more efficient. But in lots of jobs, if you can put more energy in, be more enthusiastic, be more efficient. And one of the core problems we have in the UK economy is lack of productivity. We're behind many similar nations, so maybe 4 days is an answer to that.
I mean, the issue with productivity is partly because our public sector is so big and it's growing. I mean, I think our proportion of GDP that goes to the public sector has increased to, like, it's around about 50% at the moment. You know, 50% of our economy is public sector, or 45%. It's ridiculous. The other thing that holds back our productivity is the fact that we've got an unlimited supply of cheap labour from open borders. So anybody can come over the border and work. So businesses have got no incentive to invest in innovation, invest in technology that will do the work quicker and cheaper. It's essentially the same trap, the same labour trap that held back slave economies, such as, you know, in the American South, because they had a plentiful supply of labour. They had no incentive to invest in technology, invest in innovation.
I'm afraid, I think those migrant workers that, you know, cycle around town delivering people's takeaways are incredibly hard-working and efficient.
Yes, like slaves. They're literally, even, what's his name? Polanski even said, oh, well, you know, I want them to wipe my bum.
He said I wouldn't want to wipe people's bums, which was actually quite funny, because there was also Kelly Osbourne.
And I wouldn't want my bum wiped by her.
He was on a show like, I think is it The View in America? I know what it's called.
Yeah.
Where she went on. It was catastrophic. She went, well, President Trump, if you want to deport all the Hispanic people, who's going to clean your toilet? And everyone was like, that's not the only job that they do, etc. And then you've got like Zach Polanski now going, I don't want to wipe people's bums. It's like, hang on a minute, mate. Like, migrant labour isn't just all about wiping people's bums, you know?
Yeah. Hang on, but I thought they were all...
show their own kind of...
And I don't want Abu Hamza.
I thought they were all doctors that were coming over, according to Zach Polanski. So, you know, and I thought that they were all, like, highly educated, you know, professors and all this sort of stuff.
I don't want Abu Hamza wiping my bum.
No.
Because that hook is going to get caught in some dangleberries.
Well, there we go. What an image that is. Anyway, coming up in just a moment...
You actually need an ambulance to get to hospital there tonight. People have died in this prison. People have died in this prison.
Some news here, because it's on the front of The Guardian for Tuesday. Families plead with David Lammy over Palestine Action hunger strikers. I'm going to tell you exactly what The Guardian says, but the other news is I believe that one of the hunger strikers has today relinquished their hunger strike. So it's not the person that was doing a hunger strike every other day, which I think was the Atkins diet. This was someone who was on hunger strike, full-blown hunger strike. They've now decided to, like, eat a sandwich or something, so that's good. But anyway, their relatives are now demanding a meeting with David Lammy. So there you go. The problem, of course, there is that David Lammy can't count to how many hunger strikers there are. So anyway, more on that when we go. Oh, and the police have seized Prince Andrew's gun licence. Oh, the artist formerly known as Prince Andrew. What's the real story behind that?
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday from 8 p.m.
What I've discovered is that a comet that was observed by the Chinese in 5 BC, I put together the information from their observation to come up with an orbit that would take this particular comet very, very close to the Earth. And as it passed the Earth, probably about the distance to the moon, a position on the rotating Earth would have seen the comet pause for a period of hours over a location. We have the same thing now with the geosynchronous satellite. If you stand at the equator, there are geosynchronous satellites that stay over your head 24/7. This comet was so close to the Earth that it would have had the brightness of like a first quarter or full moon. So it would have been clearly visible in the daylight.
So it would have been easy for them to follow. And how quickly would they have had to have travelled? Could they have travelled fast enough to keep up with it?
Well, it would have been a direction. So it turns out it takes 2 or 3 hours to walk from Jerusalem to Bethlehem. It's a relatively short distance. And that's the period of time where it behaved like this for those few hours. So there was the time available. Now, of course, their trip from the east, it would have taken many weeks. And the Chinese said the comet was visible in the constellation Capricorn for more than 70 days. And it's that appearance in one constellation for an extended period. Pilots know this. If you see an object in the sky while you're flying a plane and it's not moving left, right, or up, down, it's actually on a collision course, or nearly so, with you. So the comet was heading more or less directly towards the Earth until, at least in my theory, they arrived in Jerusalem and walked that distance from Jerusalem to Bethlehem.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to Late Edition. Let's give you the first look at Tuesday's newspaper front pages, and now we're doing The Guardian. Couple of stories here on the front of The Guardian. We're going to talk about this one second, but it's interesting to just whet your appetite because, for want of a better phrase, because big firms are rolling back their public support for Pride. So the UK's biggest businesses are rolling back their support for Pride celebrations. Apparently, the company's mentions of Pride has plummeted by 92%. Good, the tide is turning on Pride. But let's deal with their main story first. Families of these hunger strikers are pleading with David Lammy to meet with them in an attempt to end this impasse. So the intervention came after 3 of the prisoners were simultaneously in hospital. Yeah, I mean, basically, there's still time to do better for the citizens of the UK and ending the UK complicity in the ongoing genocide. You can support these prisoners. Christo, your views on whether or not David Lammy should meet the families of the hunger strikers.
Well, haven't the families been through enough? It's so unrealistic because some of their demands are literally right. The UK should completely change its entire foreign policy when it comes to Israel and everything else, and you know, helping with arms and whether Palestine Action should be prescribed as a terror group or not. I mean, as if David Lammy is incompetent in many ways, and I think he barely knows how to put his pants on in the morning. However, I really think it's an unrealistic expectation that the entire UK policy on these things is going to change. Why don't they just eat something?
Well, I think this is the natural conclusion of the entitlement generation, isn't it? Where you deliberately put yourself in a position where you are starving yourself to death, and then as a result you expect all your demands to be met, otherwise you'll die, and you expect urgent any kind of medical attention that you need paid for by the taxpayer.
Yeah, and a lot of them are so posh that this isn't even a hunger strike, this is an Ayurvedic fast. You know what I mean? And the way politicians have been reacting on the left, saying that, they're being held without trial. It's like, no, they're on remand. Yeah. This is a key part of our justice system and has been, like, for a very long time. You know, are you completely ignorant of that? And why was nobody complaining when, in the wake of the Southport attack, people who were upset that little girls had been slaughtered were being held on remand then. So yeah, it's ridiculous. This is a temper tantrum by some brats. But I mean, it's sad to hear that some of them are thinking of giving up, because if you could just don't eat anything for another month, I'm almost on board. I'm almost convinced. And if you just don't eat anything for another maybe 1 or 2 months, I'll be there with the Palestine flag. I'll be chanting for Islamic Islamic Jihad. You know, I'll be right on board, guys, but just don't eat anything for too much.
I thought the lady that you interviewed earlier on your show,
Yes.
was the prison officer, former
Yes.
prison officer. I thought that she said, well, what they'll be doing, the prison officers, they'll be going and they'll be reminding them they could eat at breakfast, lunch and dinner, 3 meals a day. I mean, that's a bit cruel, isn't it? They're on hunger strike and they get told every...
Also, a couple of minor points of housekeeping here that I have to do. Of course, everyone's innocent until proven guilty. They are yet to face trial, and I'm not convinced that any of them are there for, don't say anything now, for actually supporting Islamic Jihad. So there you go. Lastly, I don't want to get sued by a starving person in the run to Christmas, you know. But on this, yeah, go on. Well, I mean, so the prison governor that I spoke to said that they will be given liquids, they will be offered food at any point, they'll be given psychological help, and the second that the doctors on site believe that they are in such a bad situation, they will be taken to hospital. They're not being denied any medical treatment.
Yeah, there's no reason to believe that they are being denied treatment or not offered everything that would keep them healthy. But I actually think this is a lot more sinister than just entitlement, because look at what these people's tactics have been. You had Greta Thunberg with the flotilla to Gaza, where she ridiculously claimed to have been, quote-unquote, kidnapped, which is exactly what Hamas did to innocent Israelis and Jews. And then we saw the images, the horrific image of one Israeli hostage who was so thin it was reminiscent of the Holocaust because he had been starved. He had no choice in going without food by Hamas terrorists. And now what is their tactic? It is to refuse food. I actually think this is quite sinister and gaslighting Jews by trying to replicate the kind of torture that innocent people have actually been through.
But also, why didn't their families spend less time wanting to meet David Lammy and asking for the demands to be met, and more time actually meeting them and saying, eat something?
Well, there we go. I mean, look, they're obviously, you know, since time immemorial, people have gone on hunger strike for their cause. They obviously feel as though they're doing the right thing. But there's another story at the bottom of The Guardian here. Leo, I'll put this to you. Big firms are rolling back their public support for Pride. Analysis of social media posts by some of the country's biggest companies found that mentions of Pride had fallen by 92% since 2023.
Yeah, I mean, Pride has become a controversial issue. Maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it was something that everybody could get on board. It's forward-thinking, it's progressive, everybody's got gay friends, let's stand with them. All of a sudden, ruptures appeared in the sort of LGBTQ++ movement as new letters.
Yeah,
as new letters were added, and it became this insanely long acronym. And some of the things on there were completely antithetical to the other things in there. So you had people with fetishes, you had asexuals. I'm sorry, but having asexuals at Pride, people who have no sex with anybody. That's like having a sport at the Olympics called not playing any sport whatsoever. Yeah. And who's discriminating against asexuals? They're literally doing what every, you know, religious, intolerant bigot wants you to do. When you think there's dads out there saying, like, oh, listen, while you're under my roof, you're going to have sex with someone. You know what I mean? No, you're literally doing what all the dads want. So, I mean, it became a nonsense. And also you had issues like Cardiff Pride, for example. The transgender element of the Pride March got the lesbians kicked off the march because they were seen as, you know, TERFs, which is bad. So it's become this sort of poison chalice. Plus there's all the guys in donkey harnesses having sex with each other in public.
You've also got the ones that are intersex as well. So
everyone's into sex.
Yeah,
it's
so ridiculous.
All into sex.
That's the I, and then you've got the A.
The asexuals aren't into sex.
Oh no, yeah, right. So nearly everyone's into sex. So you discriminated against the asexuals then by presuming they were into sex. So that's the discrimination that they're talking about.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. I think that I find Pride a little bit annoying. I did used to find it fun. I'm just a bit more of a cynic as I've got older, and what used to annoy me about seeing all the companies, I used to do a little experiment where you'd see all the companies that would change their company logos into rainbow flags over Pride. And then I'd say, right, if it was a big global brand like Mercedes or something like that, I'd be like, right, OK, let's go and look at Mercedes Middle East and see, because the Middle Easterns, they kind of need the Pride flag. You know, that's when you need a big brand to go, right, actually, you know what, you're going to be hanged for being gay. So actually, this big corporate brand being on side with you would probably help. And do you know what? They never ever change their flags in any of the countries where actually it would make a difference.
Very quickly, Benjamin, sorry, your views on this. It appears as though the tide has turned on pride.
Well, I think this is shameful because actually you've got lots of people who have an agenda to hate trans people and they will come for gay people next. Most people in the community are in solidarity. It's absolutely
a lot of them are gay.
It's absolutely not.
A lot of gender-critical people are
Most
gay.
lesbians defend transgender rights, and actually I think companies embracing it has been great because everyone, or hopefully everyone, has a job. When you go to your workplace, you should be safe, you should be celebrated, and it's been a massive element of progress in the last 20 years.
And also, it was 92% of firms, and actually since you've started speaking, that's got up to 95% of firms.
seriously, like this is capitalism. This is market forces driving it. They've obviously decided that there is no longer money in basically being a simp for pride, right? And you know, there we are. So all of those people that were cancelled in all of these corporate workplaces for basically saying, I think we're going a bit too far with pride, do they get their jobs back now? All those people as well, because the next thing will be, you know, the whole Black Lives Matter thing. People lost their jobs for all of that, didn't they? You didn't put a black square as your profile picture on Facebook. You lost your job in accounts somewhere in some big multinational corporate company. Or are they going to be welcome back now they've realised there's no money in it anymore? But anyway, moving on. There's a big front page exclusive in The Sun, which we'll be talking about next. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has had his gun licence revoked. Specialist police officers turned up at Royal Lodge and they've removed his gun licence. I'll tell you why next.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Although it is turning much drier during the next few days, it's not necessarily turning sunnier. We do have extensive cloud, low cloud at that, giving widespread hill fog in places overnight. Low pressure remains to the southwest. That's going to continue to bring some showery rain towards southwestern parts of the UK, even Wales from time to time overnight and into the start of Tuesday. And we also have some outbreaks of showery rain in the north of Scotland. But away from these areas, mostly it's dry. However, with a lot of low cloud around and that cloud sitting on hills, there'll be some patchy drizzle. It will be frost-free, temperatures of 6 to 8 Celsius first thing. So gloomy starts to Tuesday, especially for central and eastern parts of Scotland, with outbreaks of light rain here and there, particularly over the hills. Showery rain for the north and northwest of Scotland as well, but some brightness for the parts of western Scotland, particularly the southwest. Cumbria, West Wales doing well for some glimmers of sunshine first thing. The southwest of England still seeing some showers. Mostly these are light outbreaks of rain and they're going to fade away by the time we get to the afternoon. So many places will be dry but cloudy, and that widespread cloud sheet continuing throughout much of Tuesday. It's going to make it feel cold, and the easterly wind, once it sets in, will make it feel cold. Feels like temperatures more like 2 or 3 Celsius in the east and southeast of England. Northern Scotland sees some outbreaks of rain later on, and they tend to drift into central areas by Christmas Eve before fizzling away. But you'll notice Christmas Eve, a bit less cloud around. Not entirely cloud-free, but certainly a brighter day as expected. And likewise, on to Christmas Day. Brighter skies, still some patchy cloud around, dry for most, even if it will be windy.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the late edition. We're going to give you all of the front pages for Tuesday, the one we're talking about now, and we're going to do it, by the way, with Ben Leo, who's hosting the Late Show Live, which is next. But this is the front of The Sun. Police seize Andy gun licence. Police officers, specialist police officers, apparently turned up at Royal Lodge, interviewed or tried to interview Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. They've revoked his gun licence. He's now apparently only allowed to shoot any of the shotguns that he owns under strict supervision. He's also not allowed to transport them anywhere. This is a quite serious story, really, and obviously, you know, look, clearly you don't want to speculate too much, but there are quite clearly defined reasons why the police might come and take your gun licence off you, and some of those reasons involve mental health. But Ben Leo is with us. Ben, you am I allowed to say you have a gun licence?
Yes, I've got a shotgun licence.
Right, good. So what do you think's going on here?
Well, as you said, I don't want to speculate, but Charlotte Griffiths said to me on the Late Show Live some weeks ago when this Andrew stuff came about again that she'd heard through her sources that he was, and naturally he would be, struggling mentally, saying there was concern for his health, people were visiting him and checking up on him. So as a gun licence holder, a shotgun licence holder, one of the first things the police do is they come round, they see your home, they check how you live. Are you clean? Are you tidy? Are you a responsible person? They speak to you, they speak to your GP, they check for any history of mental health and so on. And if you've got any background of mental health issues, the chances are you won't get a shotgun licence. So, again, I don't want to speculate, but off the back of this headline, police seizing Andrew's gun licence, I can only think, by putting two and two together from what Charlotte Griffiths told me some weeks ago and reading this, that, yes, there is concern about his mental health. Maybe he's voluntarily given them up because he's concerned about his own mental health.
Well, let's think about, the time of year it is as well. So Christmas is here now. This is the period. I don't imagine he'll be anywhere near any of the royal Christmas celebrations or any of the royal church services. There's another article today, which is that Princess Beatrice has apparently gone skiing. She's gone skiing. The way that they phrased it was that she didn't want to be anywhere near her dad. Whether that's true or not, we don't know. It doesn't look like Sarah Ferguson's anywhere near him these days.
Even if that Beatrice story isn't true, or it's maybe 10% true, I think for him, seeing that headline would be very hurtful anyway as a father. Yeah. Knowing people are seeing that and reading that and thinking, well, this guy's daughter doesn't want anything to do with him. I mean, that's pretty savage. And do you know what? Whatever people think of Andrew, he's innocent until proven guilty. Yes, he made the payoff to Virginia Giuffre, but he has, from a human perspective, whether you think he's done anything wrong or not, he is a human being and he's been through a lot. He's lost his titles, he's been stripped of everything he knew of himself, his own self-identity. He's been through the ringer, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's feeling a little bit low. One
of the reasons why they said that it might be is that because he's due to move address soon, which he's moving out of Royal Lodge, and that obviously you have to inform police if you've got a gun licence of where you're going.
Well, you wouldn't lose your licence for that.
Right.
So one of the conditions of a shotgun licence in the UK is you have to keep the gun or guns in a locked cabinet. The cabinet needs to be bolted to the floor or to a wall. The keys, which only you should know where they are, the keys location needs to be kept separately. And if anybody else knows where the keys are, you can lose your licence. So the police sometimes will do spot checks on people's homes. They'll knock on the door and say, "Oh, hello, is Ben in?" And they'll say, "No, he's out." And they'll say, "Oh, I'm just here to check the gun cabinet. Do you know where the keys are?" And if my wife says, "Oh, yeah, I know where the keys are, they're here," you'll lose the licence because nobody else is meant to know where the keys are. Wow. Only you. So if you move home, sorry, just to finish, if you move home, that's no reason to lose your licence. You just move the gun cabinet.
I just also think we should take a moment to acknowledge quite how big a story this is when you consider how much guns are an integral part of his culture, his life, hunting weekends. Remember, he famously said in the Emily Maitlis interview that it wasn't just a simple hunting weekend. I mean, hunting and going out with guns is a pastime that, it might be alien to many of us, but to him, this would be something he would probably have done weekly. I mean, this is absolutely massive that for whatever reason, and we don't know, and I think Ben is absolutely right to point out and remind us that he's innocent until proven guilty. If this is a permanent removal of his gun licence or even a temporary one based on his mental health, something that is so massive in royal life, for that extra bit to be stripped away, I think is huge.
I mean, in this story, it says that he sent a valet to deal with police officers, so that indicates maybe he has an exception in who knows where the keys are for it, compared to what Ben just explained for a regular person. And then there's another point, which is, this is exclusive in The Sun. The police have confirmed it on the record after being asked the question. So who leaked this story to the newspaper so that we all know he lost his gun licence? That suggests there's some purpose going on. But the question of whether it's a danger to public safety? Well, I don't know, but maybe Ben can answer. But you'd assume that if someone was feared to be a harm to themselves or others, they would remove the guns rather than the certificate. And he still has the guns in his home. He just has, basically no circumstance he's allowed to use them legally.
Well, I think, yeah, well, under supervision, supposedly, they're saying that he's allowed to use them if he's supervised. That's
that again, we're speculating, but that to me sounds like there is concern for his well-being. He potentially could be a harm upon himself.
Yeah, maybe it's about access. Like he perhaps is allowed to use them with others, but he doesn't have direct access to them anymore.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to go shooting, he can still, use a gun and still go shooting. He just won't be able to take the gun home and put it in a cabinet at home. But he served 22 years in the Royal Navy. They saw active duty in the Falklands. This is a guy who's, been around guns and used them. And I mean, yeah, I guess what he's been through, and we can see with the precedent of Jeffrey Epstein himself, who may or may not have killed himself. So, yeah, this is what, when powerful men fall from grace, it can be a devastating.
I mean, look, obviously, whatever anyone's views on Andrew are, I suspect that the vast majority of them are not positive. You don't want to see anyone take any drastic action when it comes to themselves. If indeed that is the reason behind why the police have decided to revoke his gun licence. Sorry, quickly, Bex, we're going to be here for a couple of minutes anyway. But what else have you got coming up on your show?
The Department for Homeland Security in the United States, their version of the Home Office, is launching a Brucey bonus Christmas deal for migrants, illegal migrants in the US. It's a Christmas deal until January the 1st. If you self-deport, you get $3,000. Deal runs out January the 1st.
Is that why did you take it to come home?
Yeah. All right, well, look, we've got all that coming your way in just a moment, as well as this.
Driving home for Christmas. Oh, I can't wait to see those faces.
Yes, well, sad news, really. That is that the singer behind the festive classic Driving Home for Christmas, Chris Rea, has sadly died at the age of 74. All that and more coming your way next.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, and welcome to your winter sun forecast from the Met Office. If you're looking to head towards the Mediterranean for the Christmas period, it is going to be quite unsettled in quite a few locations. The best of the sunshine probably across the Canary Islands, but for Spain it is going to be cloudy with some outbreaks of rain. And for Western Italy we will have some thundery showers, and that band of showers will continually push its way towards Greece as you head through the week. And it will be quite chilly in a few spots, but for Tenerife we are looking at highs of around the low 20s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live, every night at midnight.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
This Christmas, we're inviting you to join the GB News family for an occasion filled with joy. A chance to come together and lift our voices and celebrate what truly brings us closer at this time of year. So whether you're with friends or family or simply in the spirits of the season, we would love to share this special night of carols with you. Carols by candlelight, Christmas Eve at 8 o'clock, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Late Edition.
Driving home for Christmas. Oh, I can't wait to see those faces.
Well, the singer behind the festive classic Driving Home for Christmas, Chris Rea, has died at the age of 74. His sad passing has made the front of several national newspapers, picture-wise, I suppose, on the front of the Daily Mail, how M1 trip up north inspired driving home for Christmas. Telegraph cover it as well. Rea dies 3 days before Christmas. And, I mean, there is, look, it's obviously I don't know if irony is the right word, but it's an unavoidable kind of context, isn't it, that he has passed away just 3 days before Christmas. And Christo, you have some kind of connection with him.
Well, I used to work for someone who is related to him. I never actually had anything to do with him. But I have to say, what a legacy to have a Christmas hit. I mean, every single Christmas that is played. Every single Christmas. And also, the other one, he did like a driving song, because Road to Hell is Chris Rea as well. Yeah. And that's quite a good song as well.
And Auberge.
Auberge, yeah.
Another banging song. Amazing voice.
And he was... What's amazing is he was incredibly ill when he was 33 and had to have his pancreas, his gallbladder, removed because he had pancreatic cancer and survived it. And that's so rare. When I read that, it was like the first person I've ever heard who had pancreatic cancer and survived.
Yeah, yeah.
But so the fact that he, I mean, 74 is no age nowadays, but the fact that he survived that at 33 is unbelievable.
Yeah. I must confess, I didn't realise he was British. The singing doesn't sound like an English accent to me. It feels slightly less glamorous, the song, when it's about the M1, whereas I imagine it was some kind of beautiful Virginia road or something, but it's not. But I actually think there's something quite beautiful about the fact that he's died as people are driving home for Christmas. It seems quite fitting. You don't get to pick your exit one, but the exit song works pretty well in this circumstance. So I think it reminds me of Ozzy Osbourne when, he did the huge concert and then 2 weeks later died. And you think, actually, I probably would pick that way out. It's quite fitting.
It's actually Emily's favourite Christmas song. So,
is it?
Yeah.
What's your favourite Christmas song?
Fairy Tale in New York, I think.
Oh, would you
the lyric.
The lyric?
No, I'd sing it. In fact, now I sing it louder.
Oh.
But yeah, talking of which, actually, Emily and I are hosting Christmas Eve breakfast together from 6 a.m. till 9:30 a.m. on Shock Horror Christmas Eve. So there you go. Leo, you're... Oh, yes, and joining us will be Christo and Benjamin as well. So,
that's so kind of you to mention that.
There you go.
That's so nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
The best guests in your budget.
Right. Now, Leo, I'm not going to ask you about Chris Rea. Instead, I'm going to ask you about boiling lobsters to death. Yeah. So, the Times' front page, Animal Plan sets out a ban on boiling lobsters alive. So, yeah, I mean, seriously, it looks as though this new ban is going to involve not being able to boil a lobster alive.
Yeah, I mean, I don't consume a huge amount of live lobster, so I'm not sure this is going to.
Well, no, they boil it to death.
They boil it to death. I mean, yeah,
eat it alive.
I usually just let it die of old age. I let it run around in the back garden, and once it's eaten a few dandelions, it falls over. No, yeah, I mean, this is I mean, I think a lobster, everybody carries on about animals like they're, like it's killing a person. People don't seem to care about killing people at all. But, I mean, if you, kill a lobster or chafe its knees, it's essentially, a large locust that lives in the sea. Have they got brains? Have they got, have they got sentience?
They're sentient. I've got really into crabs, actually.
I'm going to say something else.
And because there is an account on Instagram called Howie the Crab, and it's a pet crab, and it likes being stroked, and it likes, it recognises its owner, and all of that sort of thing, and actually we would boil that alive, and I think that's horrible.
But I think that's anthropomorphising animals. I mean, I think that animal might just be sitting there. No, it's just sitting there having some sort of weird reaction to probably the heat in the fingers, and it's actually an incredible pain or something. Like when you pick up a slug, or there's some animal that people pick up, and apparently the heat from your fingers causes it, burns it severely internally. So yeah, I mean, I think, but then people are like, oh, but look, it's wriggling because it likes it.
Why don't we just not do it just in case? What if we don't know for sure, but actually just in case?
But where do you draw the line? No, right, OK, but look, sorry, OK, fine. Where do you draw the line with this, though? Because is the next step to this is don't kill any animal?
No, but I do think boiling an animal alive is obviously a bit monstrous. I mean, I'd slightly question the people that choose to consume their food via that method.
To be honest with you, can I just say that is one of the... Well, part of the fact that it's ridiculously expensive, it is one of the... I will basically eat anything, but I don't eat lobster. And I don't eat lobster because... I'm a massive hypocrite. I will order a massive steak, which I know has come from a cow that used to be alive, was killed explicitly for my purpose, which is to eat it. But if I order a lobster in a restaurant, I know that there is a live lobster somewhere in the bag that they are about to boil to death, and I just won't...
But, when I went to India, I was in a restaurant with lobsters and crabs, and I, like an idiot, basically bought every single one of them and released them all into
the Ganges.
Just laughing their heads off at the stupid fat Englishman who released them all, and then basically I know the moment my back was turned, they went back in and probably got them all out. But
they sold them twice.
Better.
Yeah.
Also, is it more ethical to eat whales because you get so many steaks from one massive whale? So you kill one animal, but you get so much meat from it.
Sort of like a true Japanese
try boiling that alive and you look
okay. All right, well, let's give you a roundup of all of Tuesday's newspaper front pages. The Telegraph, non-crime hate incidents to be scrapped, so that's good. The Times, cost of union officials' paid time off is to be kept secret. The Sun, police have seized Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's gun licence. The Eye, silicosis scandal save other men like me from killer kitchens. The Mail, ex-councillor allegedly drugged and raped a wife along with 5 other men. The Daily Express, let's all back Britain's vibrant high streets. Apparently there's more shops on the high streets. The Mirror, King of Industry, King Charles is this year's hardest working royal. The Guardian, families plead with David Lammy over the Palestine action. Hunger strikers, they want to meet them. So thank you very much to my wonderful panel. Again, next time you see me will be for Christmas Eve breakfast alongside Emily Carver, who will be making a glorious return to your television screens. Don't worry, someone is looking after the baby. But here is Ben Leo with The Late Show Live.
Patrick, thank you. Tonight on The Late Show Live, we welcome thousands of illegal migrants with hotels, spending money and free accommodation. But in the United States this Christmas, they're offering a Brucey Christmas bonus of $3,000 to self-deport. Why are the US so intent and clear on what they do with illegal migrants, whilst us in the UK, well, we are lacklustre in comparison? All that and more in just a tick.
A very Merry Christmas to you all from the Aurora Collection Resort in Lapland. We're on an amazing Arctic adventure to celebrate our greatest cash giveaway, a simply stunning £85,000. And this Christmas, we're giving you the chance to win it all. So don't miss out this Christmas.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.